What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to be taking you through the start of our Saint 14 weapons from Destiny 2 Echoes, which are the Breachlight. We got the Line in the Sand, Martyr's Retribution, Perfect Paradox, as well as the classic Patron of Lost Causes. So we're covering all of those in our next little video, so be on the lookout for all of that. But let's get into it first with the Breachlight. This is a Strand sidearm in our kinetic slot up there, which is a heavy burst, so it fires a 2-round burst of the weapon, which is pretty nice for that damage in PvE. I do like it as well in PvP. So for its origin traits on all of these weapons, though, we're going to have Cast No Shadows, dealing melee damage, increases its handling, and loads a small amount of ammo from reserves. So nothing too crazy about this in my personal opinion. Definitely feels good in PvE and PvP. Not really too many that do that, but obviously nothing too crazy about this in PvP. More of a PvE kind of perk, but I do enjoy it compared to some of our other ones as of late. Now, starting us out right here for our barrels for this thing for PvE, I think, me personally, I like having stability as our masterwork on these, just because it does bounce around quite a bit as that heavy burst. But I do think it's totally up to you and your gameplay style. Range is not a bad option, or reload, but I like small bore as our barrel gives us that range as well as the stability in it. So +7 on both of those gives us some pretty good stats, right in the mid 50s for both of that stability as well as the range. First barrel option that we got is Tactical Mag, +2 in the mag, +10 to reload, +5 to stability. Feels the best in my personal opinion for this round. Other option is Appended Mag. You get 2 extra shots in the magazine without that reload and stability, so totally up to you. I personally like Tactical better, but magazine wise, Appended or Tac is the way to go. Third column, first trait that I like, Demolitionist. Kills with the weapon generate grenade energy. When we throw our grenade, we're also going to be able to reload with it, so demo definitely a staple in PvE, one of my favorites for sure, and it does feel good on this weapon, especially if you're pairing it with that prismatic strand, something along those lines where you're going to get your grenades back decently fast. Getting that to proc, not too shabby in my opinion. My personal favorite in this third column is Slice right here. Casting your class ability allows the weapon to sever targets to hit for a brief duration up to a maximum number of targets. Sever is a very good perk in my personal opinion. Getting that nice little bit to go around with the tangles getting to spread with the sever in general, causing a little bit of a burst on those enemies. Very good in my personal opinion for that synergy with Strand or prismatic, really any subclass in my opinion. So this is what I would go with in the third column as my #1 choice, but we do got another option as well. This might just be a personal taste, but Compulsive Loader grants that increased reload when close to full magazine. I am a big compulsive reloader. I'll shoot a couple times, reload, shoot a couple times, reload, so this personally helps me a lot. Definitely feels good in that PvE realm again, but I like Slice the best, probably followed by Demo and then Compulsive for that third column. Fourth column got a couple options for y'all. Desperate Measures, one of our newer perks from these Echoes right here. Weapon Final Blows grant bonus damage. Melee Grenade Final Blows also grant larger damage bonus that can stack, so definitely a good perk to get yourself a little bit more juiced out with this sidearm, since I know people have been loving these rocket assisted sidearms. This definitely makes it feel a little bit better with that extra damage. Adrenaline Junkie is your next option right here. This weapon gains increased damage handling from final blows with grenades or this weapon. Definitely a good perk. Pair this with Demolitionist, probably one of the best combos that you can get on the weapon, but I personally like the next one that I'm going to cover as well. Now, I think probably my favorite combo, Hatchling right here with the combination of Slice in the third column, would be my go-to, especially for that Strand synergy, being able to sever as well as create thread links. You're going to create tangles. It's just pretty nasty for the add clear potential, which is really what you're using this for. Nothing too crazy about the damage aspect. Definitely need those rocket sidearms for that damage output, but Hatchling Slice, a very good combo. But the other one that you could go with is the Slice with Desperate Measures, probably interchangeable between that and Hatchling, but that's what I would go with for PvE. Would probably give this thing a good 4.5, 4.6 out of 5 for the PvE realm. It definitely feels good in all aspects. You can stun your champions this season, obviously. Not the craziest for damage, but not the worst either, especially if you get that Desperate Measures to proc. You do got Vorpal on this as well, but like I said, not really using it for the damage side of things. Champions, bosses, more on the ad clear, and that slice hatchling, absolutely disgusting in my opinion. Now when we move on to PvP, this thing does feel pretty good in the PvP realm as well, pairing it with whatever you want. Sniper, pulse rifle, use it up close like an SMG in my opinion. I would go with range as your masterwork for sure, with small bore as my barrel, again for that stability and range. At that +7 feels really good. We're about at 75 with range and still at 50 with that stability, so definitely a good little range that we're in for that with our stats. For our magazine, definitely going with that accurized rounds right here. We got that +10 to range, like I said, stacking it up as high as we can with that 75. Needed a little bit of extra juice on it, I feel like, to compete with some of those SMGs at that shorter to mid-range, if you will. So totally a play option, play style choice, but I like accurized here. Really only two options right here. This is definitely the best one in the third column. Perpetual motion gives us that stability, handling reload while we are in motion. Get that up to stacking to ×2. Definitely for me at least, get this all the time because I'm always bobbing and weaving. Some people not really, because they like to sit in the back and do absolutely nothing but camp with their pulse rifle. But if you're moving around like a normal player in my eyes, use perpetual motion for sure. I do think your other option is the pugilist right here. Final blows generate melee energy. Dealing melee damage gives you some better handling, so handling always good inside of the Crucible in my personal opinion. Definitely don't get it to proc as often as like you would with the perpetual motion, but pugilist not a bad option either. Two choices, really three I guess, in this fourth column right here. First one and the second one are basically the same and interchangeable. Swashbuckler, you got those defeats, stack damage, melee kills, give it all the way up to the max stacks. So pugilist with swashbuckler, not a bad combo. Still like perpetual motion the best and that third column, but swash is not a bad option for the fourth. Second option, definitely just like swashbuckler, we got desperate measure, final blows stack damage, melee and grenade final blows stack a larger damage bonus, so pretty much interchangeable with that. I think this is a little bit better than swashbuckler just because we can get grenade and melee damage to stack as well, not just with the final blows and melee getting those stacks to go up. So totally up to you with interchangeable there, but we do have one last one. Last option is that Vorpal. We're getting a 60% damage increase against those supers, or the guardians in their supers I should say, but you do have to get up close and personal a little bit even with that 75 range on this bad boy, so it's kind of a risk reward situation, but you can definitely take out a couple supers with it because it is a very good hard hitting burst, if you will, with that 2-round sidearm that we got going on. But I personally think I would give this as an overall rating for PvP probably still a pretty good score, like a 4.2, 4.3 for sure. Definitely feels pretty good inside of the Crucible. Sidearm wise, definitely the Drang runs supreme in my personal opinion. That's like my 5 out of 5, so this thing definitely comes pretty close to it, but overall not a bad weapon for this new side of it, if you will. Used to just be a kinetic weapon, no burn. Now we got Strand on it, so little evolution of it. But again, appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel. Means a lot to me, helps me out, helps the channel out a bunch. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe if you haven't. Hit that bell as well so you guys get the notifications. Got the rest of these Saint 14 weapons coming out for you guys with a couple builds. Then we're going to take a nice little break before the new episode comes out in October, so we're going to take a little break, like I said, just to kind of prep mentally, get some things situated on the channel and stuff like that with content. So again, I appreciate you guys though. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.